Hello, welcome to the Lazy Tech Guy video podcast. My name is Sean, and I'm here with Radford, and we're here to talk about the Wii U, the brand new console that Nintendo just announced at E3. Now, Rad, you had a chance to check out this device. Now, tell me the truth. Is this really a brand new console experience, or is this nothing more but a glorified Wii add-on?
From our impressions of it, it looks like Nintendo's pushing it as a brand new console. And it looks to be that way after we got a chance to experience it. But the cool thing is, even with it being as a brand new console, it's still going to go back to its sort of Wii 1 roots and be able to use some of the old stuff and play old games.
Well, Rad, what are some of your impressions of the Wii U?
The controller was actually pretty cool. This is one of the things we got a chance to play with when we were in line for about 3 hours. At least from what we saw, you know, conceptually it looked pretty good. We understand this is probably just the first part of the design and may not be the final design of the actual controller, but from what we saw, impressions were pretty good. You know, maybe look-wise it's left to be desired, but at the same time, you know, this was the first design and, you know, we were kind of looking forward to the experience.
How are the graphics?
How are the graphics?
How are the graphics? Because that is important.
Okay. I'll go into detail about that. You know, instead of kind of giving these comparisons, the graphics are very high fidelity. And what I mean by high fidelity is in our current consoles, when you zoom into a graphic, you can actually see like the blurry textures. You can see that the textures are not as detailed. This one actually has a lot of detailed textures. Now, the shaping of the characters and models in the game itself are probably not as complex as maybe today's PC graphics, but it's pretty close. It's somewhere in between our current generation of consoles and current PC consoles. So somewhere in between. So you're you're probably having maybe 1 or 2 steps higher than what we're seeing today.
So you're saying it's hot?
Yeah, it's hot. I mean, at least with the demos we're playing, right? So one good example, the Zelda demo. There's an actual Zelda demo. In the Zelda demo, they were making uses of both the controller and the screen itself. So the only thing they demonstrated was these different camera points in the game. So the scenario is like this: Link is walking into a dungeon that was probably maybe the size of a church, and he walks inside there, and then a spire maybe 30 times the size comes out, all fully textured, you know, with you know, textured fur and everything like that. And you know, they have all these different lighting effects and everything. But what the cool thing is that you can actually see the demo also from this area, so you can see where Link is standing inside the smaller, the controller's touchpad screen. So you can actually click which camera, you know, you're seeing Link. So when I click on the different camera angles, it shows Links in different, you know, different poses where you can see him from his behind or in his front or in the top.
You can see Link's behind.
Yeah, excellent. you know, but you know.
Hey, you said you can see Link's behind. What's wrong with that?
Hey, you know, you can see Link's behind since you're all 5, 8, whatever.
Dude, I've seen the top of his head from the. It's like, I don't know about you, dude.
Anyway. So at least graphically, the Zelda demo really showed off what the system was capable of doing.
Give us a little idea of what kind of experiences they were showing off at E3.
Okay, so they actually have a couple of proof of concepts, some of which touch all these different types of genres, from your rhythm games to party games, of course your graphic demos, which you just talked about, and some multiplayer games as well too, and a couple of ports. Well, I don't want to say port actually, but more a proof of concept that, you know, moving a game over to this system was pretty easy.
Tell us a little bit about the party games first.
Okay, well, this one that I actually got a chance to play was called Measure Up, and it was played with this other, you know, Nintendo attendee who was actually attending the kiosk, and so all it is really is just a measurement game type proof of concept where you're just drawing lines and circles and angles, and the way it works is the question would be draw a straight line that is, you know, 3 or 4 inches long, right? So you draw a line that's 3 or 4 inches long. Then the second player gets the controller, tries to draw the same line. Then the game basically measures the actual line and how straight the line is, and then scores you based on how straight and how accurate you drew the line. Then they ask you the next question, like draw an angle that's 45 degrees. So you're drawing basically an angle that's 45 degrees and how straight your angles are, asking you to draw circles and squares and stuff like that. And then at the very end gives you a total score and see how you did against the second player.
Was that called Wii Geometry?
Yeah, Wii Geometry, Wii Math, Wii Algebra, whatever you want to call it.
How about the rhythm games? What did they show rhythm-wise?
They had this thing called Shield Pose. And
shield pose.
Shield pose, yeah.
Okay.
Think of it as like a cross between like you being Captain America and the other side, the other side with a bunch of pirates all in skeleton form shooting arrows at you in rhythm. So
when did Captain America fight pirates?
That doesn't matter.
Right,
you have a shield.
All right,
that's the main point. You have a shield, and the point is in the game you have a guy that basically tells you an arrow is coming at the left side of you and the right side of you. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning of the game, it demos you by making you look around your surroundings. So it demonstrates. The controller demonstrates how accurate it is when you're moving around in 3D space, knowing that you're actually looking at the moon, the left side of the ship, the right side of the ship. And when the game actually begins, it says, okay, I'm going to shoot an arrow. Left, right. Then you go left, right. And then you see the arrows show up on the front of the screen, and it's asking you to shake the controller down. So you shake the arrows off, and then another set of rhythm games come in again. So to actually do these more complex, like left, right, center, you go left, right, center. Think of it as a more glorified sign mixed with
that's what it sounded like to me.
But the really funny part is when you're actually seeing the attendees play, and they're like, at the end of the game, when you actually get everything right, you're shaking all these arrows off, and you're creating this weird energy ball and then pushing it back. So these guys look like you're dancing with maracas, and you're pushing it right back into the pirates. And I don't know what the objective is of doing that, but it seemed pretty fun. So, but.
Now, about the multiplayer, you mentioned a couple multiplayer. Now we're talking in like what do you call it? In the living room together multiplayer, right? So what did they show off in that respect?
Okay, so there are two different types of multiplayer games they had. Both were called Me Battle, but both were doing two different variations.
Okay.
One of them was actually like a King of the Hill type of battle, where one person is going to be that guy who's going to be running around getting shot at. So that guy was actually the person holding the controller, while the other three people are kind of hunting them down. So. It actually looked pretty cool, and graphic-wise, it wasn't something that was impressive. But at the same time, it was one of those games that was mostly like, look what we can do multiplayer-wise. So they had 3 players on one screen, and then 1 fourth player on its own separate screen, just running for his life, while the other 3 players are jumping between vehicles, changing guns, and stuff like that.
How are the other 3 players controlling?
They're using the Wiimotes.
The Wiimotes that are out now.
And they're using, one actually had a variation of the Wiimote, while the other one had the nunchuck and the Wiimote. So there's looks like they're trying to show that you can control the game in various types of controls.
So what other type of applications do you feel this technology can be used for?
Aside from those proof of concept demos, it looks like you can also do some type of drawing. Okay. So there's probably drawing applications, and I noticed that the drawing type of application, when I was using it on the Measure Up, was very accurate. So it's very slight to the touch. Of course, I was using the stylus, so it's kind of hard to imagine what it would be like when we're using, just regular touch. But I can imagine there were some other concepts that Nintendo was showing, like one was a golf simulator type game, so you can actually put the screen on the bottom and you use your Wiimote and you see the ball on the actual controller screen, and you're actually swinging on the controller and not just swinging at air, you're actually swinging where you're aiming at the ball itself and then knocking it from its screen into the main screen, which is kind of cool and somewhat innovative. And then another concept was using it as a shuriken. So there's probably weapons that are on there where you're angling the controller, and the controller knows that you're angling at a certain way, and then you're kind of swiping at the controller's touchpad, and then it goes into the screen, and you're manipulating the screen. So that's kind of cool.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also saw a quick baseball demo too, where it looks like you could almost catch the ball the same way too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think, man? You buying one? Tell me the truth.
Early to tell.
Early to tell? Dude, you own every console. I don't see how you're not going to buy this one too.
Well, if it looks like that, maybe. But if I wait a little bit more, like I didn't get the first DS when it came out, right? Because it just didn't have the look. The DS Lite did. Now I'm hoping that they'll probably make some improvements to the controller. I'm hoping it'll be a little bit more squarey and not so rounded. So that's what I'm hoping it would be. Of course, that's just first concept, but I'm hoping that there will be more games that make use of it. And other questions that come to myself is, are we going to be required to use these controllers? Can we just put that down and just use our Wiimotes and you play things in high definition now? Like just play high definition games, hardcore games in high definition with motion controls. So that's something I'm hoping to look forward to.